Jakku, Steven Jakku.
Agent.
Hey guys,
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I got a question. So what was a period of time where you guys were lost and you couldn't find your way back to where you needed to go? Do you have any stories like that?
Man.
Hey, we'll work on this video tomorrow. More?
Yeah. Sorry,
Lost.
everybody. There's an important thing. Yeah, we'll just wrap it up then. So we should try be there by then, and that's when she's gonna do it.
It's a little behind the scenes.
Okay.
Oh,
A little behind the
Okay.
scenes of how it goes.
All right.
Getting
See ya.
stuff.
Okay, got lost. You ever been lost? Ted couldn't find you.
I went through a real creative funk. Every now and then it happens. It's bound to happen. But I remember I went through a real big specifically creative funk a couple years ago. I remember going to some presentation for the Alien Colonial Marines game.
Yeah.
And it was already, I felt like all anyone was talking about was like superheroes or reboots of stuff, or like I just felt personally a lack of creative drive, and I saw that in other people, and that didn't really help. And then I got invited to this presentation for Colonial Marines, and it was just, haha, look, the Queen. Remember that? Hey, look, the power loader. Remember that? Hey, look at that. It just felt like there's no escape. And I felt like just creatively, it's like, should I even make videos?
What's the point?
It wasn't a personal life thing. It was a
little
creative
depressed.
life thing. It was like,
A creative depression.
yeah, I just felt like, what am I contributing? Am I doing anything worthwhile? I want to break this.
A lot of people
I don't want to be part of this.
relate to that, yeah.
But, I don't know. But then you work on a few things and it goes over well and you get great feedback. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm doing something that I think is cool. And, other people are sending great feedback.
How's this relate to you getting lost?
Because I just felt creatively lost.
Oh, I was thinking like physically on a map.
either
lost.
way, yeah. If you were like lost and not figuring out like
What were
to
you
do
referring
for
to?
a project. Just like where you need like, oh crap, I'm lost. I need to get back
Oh,
here.
no, I use fucking GPS. And I'm 2 seconds.
Hey, for real, when I
Yeah.
was back in high school, there was a group of friends that I would hang out with, and we would just stay up all night skateboarding or going around the city, like fucking dumpster diving behind electronic stores or grocery. We would just go out at night all the time.
Yeah.
And one thing we used to do was this is before, cell phones and GPS and all that shit.
Yeah.
We would just try to like get lost in our hometown or in our city. Wherever, if we were all spend the night at someone's house, the neighborhood would be kind of unfamiliar, but it's like, let's just fucking walk in a direction and see if we get lost. And you'd get lost for maybe like 20, 30 minutes, but then you'd get spit out on some street because you're usually in like residential or kind of like cities, suburb neighborhoods. And you'd recognize like some Rite Aid landmark or some other store or something. And it's like, oh, fuck. It's hard to get lost, I think.
Wait,
Yeah.
Sean, you've been lost?
Come.
But we used to definitely try. We used to try to walk in one direction
I've done
for
that.
hours and see where we'd end up. But we'd eventually get spit out on some main road, and it's like, oh,
used
I
to
know
try
where
to
we
get
are.
lost too. But there was a time that we all got lost, and to this day, I don't know what happened. We will never know what happened.
Denny Way.
No. We were up in LA or Irvine or something. This is
Irvine, yeah.
years and years and years ago. And those of you from California, there's a freeway called the 405. The 405, if you go south, it turns into the 5. You don't have an option. It just becomes another freeway.
That's how you get to SD.
There's no way to get off the 405. It just turns into the 5. That's it.
Yeah.
We were on the 405, and before we knew it, we went past the 405, and we kept going straight, and it turned into like this weird hilly area, this really shitty neighborhood. There's a 7-Eleven, and I was like, how? You can't mess this up. How did we do this? And to this day, I couldn't do it again if I tried. I have no idea where we were or how we got there. I didn't get off on an exit. We were all of a sudden just in the middle of shit nowhere. And to this day, it baffles me. Like, what happened?
You gotta lay off that lean.
How do you fuck that up? How did we fuck up?
Yeah.
And where were we? I don't know where we were.
Yeah, it just seems like California is like a big area where there's like a lot of like different streets that can go in other places. I have when I was younger. You see, I live in the Midwest, so there's a lot of forest area around here. And me and my friend decided to just go to like some like forest-wooded area near where I lived. And so it was snowy around this time. And as we go through, we go by this like kind of like small little pond area, and it's frozen. And now we check to see if it's able to walk on because we've done this before, and it was pretty sturdy. And while we go through to cross the other side while it's frozen, we see this like patchy little hole area, and we think, oh crap, we can't, better go around that. But before I try to do that, I step a bit further into it, and I fall into this water.
Oh no!
I was gonna say.
I am wearing like heavy clothing into like water in this pond, and my friend luckily, pulls me up to get out of there, and we had to just immediately go home after that. And yeah, I'm glad I had my friend with me that time.
Same.
Otherwise, because at that I was young and I don't remember. It was just black and cold, but he pulled me up.
One time I went to Yosemite, and Luke and I would always try to get lost in Yosemite, which is a great idea to think about it now. But this is, we went during the winter one year, and it was very snowy, and we were kind of walking around where we didn't really know, and all of a sudden we saw these footsteps, like two sets of, it was one set of footsteps. Let's follow the footsteps, see where it goes. So we're following the footsteps. All of a sudden, there's like a scuffle, the footprints. There's like a scuffle of footprints, and then there's running footsteps going like a different direction, and we were like, "What the fuck happened here?" It's fucking scary.
Maybe they just danced.
I don't think so.
Maybe someone's cell phone rang and it's a really cool ringtone.
But then we were in the middle of nowhere, so if we were yelling for someone, we would have never ever been found. It was like the worst idea.
Wow.
And it was like having fun and adventure until all of a sudden it got scary real quick.
Was there only one set of footprints running off?
Yes.
Probably Fulton extracted the other guy.
No, it's when he carried you.
Oh, that is what Jesus does. He carries you, Sean. You and your brother were walking with Christ and you didn't even know
Holy
it.
shit. He carried that person all the way.
Hey, Steven.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you tested out the frozen lake to make sure it was safe. How does one do that coming from the Midwest? I mean, do you
Just
throw
like-
rocks in?
Don't ask him.
You hit it with
you
sticks?
step on it really hard and just see like, okay, yeah, it's
You just
sturdy.
you get out there and you just jump, and if you fall in, it's not safe.
Well, no, you take 1 foot and you're like, you stomp really hard.
Oh,
on it
like
and
how a
it's
horse
right.
counts. I get it. I get it. I
And to
can
be
pick
fair,
up
I'm
what you're
looking at
putting down.
chat, and yeah, that wasn't a lost story, but I just felt like sharing that.
Well, hey, previously on Lost. That's the kind of story I go for.
I just wanted to say real quick about being lost,
Yeah.
physically, literally. I had a really big, real talk for many, many years, a big fear of getting lost. Legitimately, it would prevent me from driving or things like that. I would try to drive distances, and it was really hard for me to, because I get turned around very easily. And to this day, I still need help finding really basic things because my brain gets really turned around directionally about things. I'm just a klutz in that regard. And so for many years, I had my license for, I got it when I was probably 18. And I just never really drove except to work and back because I would really get easily lost. And I really, I have a fear of that thing. And I guess it's still with me. I guess it's still with me to a point. But it was about 2008 or so that I went, this is going to be a problem 2007 is probably. I said, this is going to be a problem my whole life. Things happen and I keep having to ask people to take me to them. And you know what I mean? Things like that. And I thought, this is going to be difficult my whole life. I need to just buckle down and research this. And I never had used the GPS, so I got a GPS and hooked it up. And it was like, wow, it's just like a video game. It maps out where I'm going. I'd never used that before. I really didn't know anything about that. And I hooked it up and I went, fuck it, I'm going to Disneyland. And I drove because that is not, LA even gets a little complicated.
Yeah.
But Disneyland is a straight shot. You get on the 5 and you keep going, and then you get off, and there's Disneyland. So I was like, I've seen people do that before. I can do it. And I went all the way. That was my first. I didn't try it with anything closer. I tried that, and I went far. And it was like, that drive was like fucking the walk to Mordor for me, because it was just like, oh my God. Because I was afraid to drive 2 miles away, let alone 100.
You're on the freeway for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. So, I made it that far, and it was like, holy shit. And that washed it all away. And I use GPS, and still to this day, I use the GPS in my phone to find very simple things. I use it all the time, and it's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
But I was able to conquer it just by, you know what? I got to just jump in.
It's funny.
That was it.
This dates me so fucking hard, but I mean, when I got my license and I got my first car, I bought a Thomas Brothers guide.
Yeah.
I mean, back before,
I had one of those in my car. My dad bought me.
But I used to use the fucking thing. I used to, I knew how to get to school and I knew how to get places. But like my friends and me would be hanging out, and I had, just kind of recently started driving.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Let's go to the beach." Well, we could go over to my dad's office in MapQuest, but hold on, I have this book.
Yeah.
And we would look like,
Yeah.
oh, this 8 freeway takes us to the beach. And,
Yeah.
and I would sit my friend in the passenger seat and be like, yeah, follow this map and
Yeah.
tell me, all right, after the 8, where do we exit? Oh, yeah, get on the 5. Oh, okay, that's how you go to the beach. I used to teach myself with paper maps that I kept in the glove box.
Apple Maps and all that stuff being added to the
It's so
phone
easy
is
now.
the best thing ever.
Dude,
And-
you just talk to Siri, how the fuck do I get to this taco shop? And she'll guide you. You don't even have to look at anything.
As long as you curse, she'll listen.
Well,
No.
she understands what we're in a hurry if I'm swearing.
We took a trip to California, and on the highway, my dad wasn't used to. He rented a car. He wasn't, it's not the same as over here.
Yeah.
That you can miss a place going by, because we started from Anaheim, and then we went to Laguna Beach, and then Santa Monica, and so we took kind of like a area of exploring Southern California before we went home.
Hit up the PCH. What a way to live.
Yeah.
You guys
It's really nice.
rent a convertible, or what kind of rental you get?
It was just like a I don't remember. I think it was just a 4-door car.
Cop
Medium
car.
size.
You guys rented a Crown Vic, dude. That's sick. Well, hey, did you have Ford Sync? Were you guys using Siri?
No, but he had directions that we were going to. I think he kind of nearly got lost on our way to Santa Monica, which was the last stop.
That'll
Our trip.
happen. The good thing about getting lost in this day and age, you pull over and you figure out how to get back on the road within 5 minutes of using Google Maps or setting if you have an external GPS or,
I'm seeing a lot of arguing about what's better, Apple Maps or Google Maps. I never had any issues with Apple Maps.
Me neither.
Really, search was shit when it first came out. You would search for locations nearby, like food, basic things, and it would go, did you mean TJ Maxx? No. Like, search was broken day one.
Really? I always used it.
But in terms of, I remember being with you in downtown Disney, and we were like, let's find a place to eat, or no, there was some place specifically that we were looking for.
Okay.
And I searched pizza or something, and it was like, oh, did you mean Angel Stadium? What the fuck?
Who sells pizza there?
But I've never had any issue with it losing me or not knowing where things were. I know they didn't have, I don't use this, but it didn't have public transportation stuff on it. Some people like that.
Yes.
And Google had that, but now they both do. And I have great results with Apple Maps. I should say this. I have just as many issues I've used Google Maps and Apple Maps, and I didn't really have an issue with either more than the other in terms of, there are times where Apple Maps still won't let you turn off toll roads. Like, what the fuck?
But you can tell it not to go that route.
Yeah, absolutely,
but
sure.
sometimes
But
Apple Maps, and this is the only count I can give them,
Yeah.
they have inadvertently cost me $6 because
Sure.
it put me on a toll road where I did not want to go on.
Yeah, there was a point in time where I had to go to LA a bunch in 1 month, and it every day kept trying to get me on this one toll road.
And
it's
if
like,
you're not paying
oh my
attention-
god, no, I'm not going on that road.
Yeah, if you're just blindly listening to Siri, like sometimes I do, it'll throw you right on.
But I've had Google Maps do some weird shit on me too, in terms of just not knowing the best route to something, the quickest, I should say,
Yeah.
where Apple Maps would know that. So I don't know. I don't really have. I guess feature wise, Google Maps is better, but I don't know. I haven't really had
I use both.
any issue with Apple.
I use both on a regular basis,
Yeah.
but I use Google Maps on a computer when I'm looking up a location, when I'm researching something. The Street View, all the navigational stuff you can do
Yeah.
with a mouse is great, but I use Apple Maps on my device and when I'm using a GPS application.
Yeah.
I have Google on my phone for that emergency or
Yeah.
that
When
specific
Apple's acting
use,
weird. Yeah.
but very rarely. I do use both, but for very different things.
Yeah. So there you go.
And I had Waze for a while. People are talking about Waze. I heard a lot of
Waze?
cops got
I don't
Waze
know
in major
Waze.
metropolitan areas and were fucking faking where their locations were.
Oh, really?
'Cause that's a big thing. That's a big thing you do on Waze is you report where the popo is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, that's the.
I did hear about that.
In
Okay.
LA, dude, in LA, it's almost a must because it's congestion. You're dealing with 405, 101 being at fucking, dead stop traffic at all hours of the
Yeah.
day. So you use it to find out, hey, legitimately, the wait time on the 101 is going to suck, so I'm going to go over,
Yeah.
Laurel Canyon or something. You would use it in a town or in a metropolitan area where everyone's reporting, but they were also finding cops in that area lying about locations
How funny.
trying to get tickets. Got to get the quotas, guys.
The one thing Apple Maps has been doing really well lately is the intuition thing that they have in sync with Siri. Is that now it starts to learn your habits.
Yeah.
And now when I go home, it actually puts a thing on my home screen. If you have like all your location services on and stuff like that,
yeah.
when I get in my car, it goes, okay, going to be average 12 minutes to get home. Nothing unusual.
It just tells you that?
Tells me that.
That's
and then
bitchin'.
and then there's days where I get in my car to come to the office and it goes, there's an accident, it might take you a few more minutes. It gets used to
go
that
around
every
it, though.
day at the same time I go here. And it learns that path. And I really like that. It's got that. And lately Apple Maps added the thing that Google had where I was stuck on the 5 the other day and it actually went, we actually detected that if you take the 15 in a minute, you'd actually save about 12 minutes. You want to divert? And I hit yes, and it went, okay, get out here. And it actually...
Is this on your Ford Sync screen or is this on your
it's
iPhone?
No, the iPhone. The latest
Nice.
updates to maps and all that stuff. So it's all getting better.
I use it, but typically only going up north or some business that I have never visited before for work or something.
So anyway,
Well,
there
the
you
travel,
have it.
The travel discussion.
Thank you for taking my call, guys.
Thank you,
you,
Steven.
Steven.
Calling in.
Don't fall.
Stevens, agent.
Stay out of those icy, frigid rivers, man. That could
Yeah.
kill your ass.